Hello friends, welcome back to i-TUTOR NCERT series. Today we are going to discuss Class 9 Geography NCERT Chapter 4 Climate. So in this chapter we will learn about the atmospheric conditions which prevail over our country. Okay, so let's start. First one is climate. What is climate? So the climate refers to the sum total of weather conditions and variations over a large area for a long period of time. Okay, so what is climate? Climate is the sum total of weather condition and the variation over a large area for a long time of period. So the time may be more than 30 years. Okay, so the sum total of weather condition and variations over a large area for a long period. The period may be 30 years. Okay, more than 30 years. Now, so that is climate. Climate is the long weather condition of a large area for a long period. Now, what is weather? The weather refers to the state of atmosphere over an area at any point of time. Okay, so what is weather? It refers to the state of atmosphere over an area. Okay, at any point of time. So that is weather. So that is the difference between climate and weather. So climate is a sum total weather condition of a long period in a large area. But weather refers to the atmospheric condition over an area at any point of time. So that is the difference between climate and weather. The elements of weather and climate are the same. Okay, so the elements which affect the weather and climate are same. That is temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity and precipitation. Okay, so these are some elements which affect the weather and climate. Okay, so what are they? First one, temperature, then atmospheric pressure, then wind, humidity and precipitation. You may have observed that the weather conditions fluctuate very often even within a day. Okay, so we know that weather conditions may be fluctuated even within a day. But there is some common patterns over a few weeks or months. That is, days are cool or hot, windy or calm, cloudy or bright, and wet or dry. On the basis of the generalized monthly atmospheric condition, the year is divided into seasons such as winter, summer, rainy. Okay, so due to the atmospheric condition or the generalized monthly atmospheric condition, the years is divided into seasons such as winter, summer, rainy seasons. Okay, so the world is divided into a number of climatic regions. Now, we already discussed about the climatic type of India. What is the climate of India? It's a monsoon type. The climate of India is described as or referred as the monsoon type of climate. In Asia, this type of climate, that is the monsoon type of climate, is found mainly in the south and the southeast. Despite an overall unity in the general pattern, there are perceptible regional variations in climatic conditions within the country. Okay, so in summer, the mercury occasionally touches 50 degrees Celsius in some parts of the Rajasthan. Okay, so in summer season, the mercury, that is the temperature measurement scale. Okay, so the mercury occasionally touches 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's a high temperature in some part of the Rajasthan, whereas it may be around 20 degrees Celsius in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so in Rajasthan, the summer temperature may 50 degrees Celsius, but at the same time, the Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir only feels 20 degrees Celsius. Now, on a winter night, temperature at Dras in Jammu and Kashmir may be as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius. Okay, so in winter, the Jammu and Kashmir, the Dras in Jammu and Kashmir's temperature may be as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius. But Trivandrum, on the other hand, Trivandrum, that's in Kerala, that's on the other hand may have a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the temperature is varying on the locations or regions, okay, within a country. Now, let's now look at the precipitation. There are variations not only in the form and types of precipitation, but also in its amount and the seasonal distribution. While precipitation is mostly in the form of snowfall in the upper parts of the Himalayas. So, in the upper parts of the Himalayas, the precipitation is in the form of snowfall. But it rains over the rest of the country. So in the rest of the country, it shows like the rain. The annual precipitation varies from over 400 centimeter in Meghalaya to less than 10 centimeter in Ladakh and western Rajasthan. Okay, so the annual precipitation varies. In Meghalaya, it is 400 centimeter. Okay, that's a highly rainfall area. And but in the same time, Ladakh and western Rajasthan experience only less than 10 centimeter. Okay, now most part of the country receive rainfall from June to September. Okay, so most of the country receive the rainfall from June to September. So that is the time of monsoon in India. But some parts like Tamil Nadu, then Tamil Nadu coast gets a large portion of its raining during October and November. Okay, so this is the retreating monsoon time. Okay, most of the country receive the rainfall from June to September. That is the monsoon time. But in some part of the Tamil Nadu coast, that gets large portion of rain during the October and November. So this period is the retreating monsoon period. In general, coastal areas experience less contrast in temperature condition. Seasonal contrasts are more in the interior of the country. There is decrease in rainfall generally from east to west in the northern plains. Okay, so from east to west in the northern plains, there is a decrease in rainfall. Okay, and also here we discuss in general coastal areas. The coastal areas experience less contrast in the temperature condition. Okay, they only experience moderate temperature. Now, these variations have given rise to variety in lives of people in terms of the food they eat, the clothes they wear, and also kind of houses they live in. Okay, so these all are connected to the climate of a region or climate of the place or the weather condition of the place. Okay, now moving forward, climatic controls. There are 6 major controls of the climate of any place. They are latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features. Okay, so these are some controls. Okay, these are the major controls of climate of any place. First one, latitude, then altitude, next pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features. Due to the curvature of the earth, the amount of solar energy received varies according to latitude. As a result, air temperature generally decreases from equator towards the pole. Okay, so we know the air temperature, generally decreases. Okay, decreases from equator towards the pole. As one goes from the surface of the earth to higher latitudes, the atmosphere becomes less dense and the temperature decreases. The hills are therefore cooler during the summers. The pressure and wind system of any area depend on the latitude and altitude of the place. Thus, it influences the temperature and rainfall pattern. The sea exerts a moderating influence on climate. As the distance from the seas increases, its moderating influences decreases and the people experience extreme weather condition. Okay, so near the coastal region or the sea region, the temperature is a moderate condition. So, but from moving from the coastal region, the temperature is more extreme. Okay, this condition is known as the continentality. Okay, that is very hot during summer and very cold during winter. Okay, so this condition is known as the continentality. Okay, what is continentality? Very hot during summer and very cold during winters. Ocean currents along with onshore winds affect the climate of the coastal areas. For example, any coastal area with warm or cold currents flowing past, it will be warmer or cooled if the winds are onshore. Okay, so any coastal area with warm or cold current flowing past it will be warmed or cooled if the winds are onshore. Okay. Finally, the relief. It too play a major role in determining the climate of a place. High mountains act as barrier for cold or hot winds. They may also cause precipitation if they are high enough and lie in the path of rain-bearing winds. The leeward side of the mountain remains relatively dry. Okay, the leeward means the rain shadow area. So the rain shadow side always remain relatively dry. Okay, so that's about the factors that affect, or the climatic controls that affect the climate of a places, or the factors that affect the climate of a places. Okay, again, first one, latitude, then altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features. Okay, now factors affecting India's climate. So first one is latitude. The Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of the country from the Run of Kutch in the west to Mizoram in the east. Okay, so we know the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree north, that passes through the middle of the country from Run of Kutch, that's in the west, to the Mizoram in the east. Almost half of the country lying south of the Tropic of Cancer belong to the tropical area. So almost half of the country lying south of the Tropic of Cancer. So that's why they belong to the tropical area. All the remaining area that is north of the tropic lies in the subtropics. Therefore, India's climate has characterized of tropical as well as subtropical climate. Okay, because India, look at this picture. This is India. This is Tropic of Cancer, and the half of the region is below the Tropic of Cancer, and some region, okay, that's above the Tropic of Cancer. That is, so that's why the Indian climate have tropical as well as subtropical climates. Now second one is altitude. India has mountains to the north which have an average height of about 6,000 meters. India also has a vast coastal areas where the maximum elevation is about 30 meters. The Himalayas prevent the cold winds from Central Asia from entering the subcontinent. It is because of the mountains that this subcontinent experiences comparatively milder winters as compared to Central Asia. Okay, so because of the help of Himalaya, the Himalayans prevent the cold winds from Central Asia. So that's why we didn't experience extreme climate in the extreme cold climate in the winter season. Okay, next one is pressure and winds. The climate and associated weather conditions in India are governed by the following atmospheric condition: pressure and surface winds, upper air circulation, and western cyclonic disturbances and tropical cyclones. Okay, so these are some conditions that governed by the climate and associated weather conditions in India are governed by the following atmospheric condition. Okay, so in India, the climate and associated weather conditions, they are governed by the following atmospheric conditions, that are first one, pressure and surface winds, upper air circulation, western cyclonic disturbance and tropical cyclones. Okay. India lies in the region of northeasterly winds. These winds originate from the subtropical high pressure belt of the northern hemisphere. They blow south, get deflected to the right due to the Coriolis force, and move on towards the equatorial low pressure area. Generally, these winds carry very little moisture as they originate and blow over land. Therefore, they bring little or no rain. Hence, India should have been an arid land, but it is not so. Okay, normally India should have been an arid land, but it's not so. Okay, that is not correct. So here we discussed about Coriolis force. What is Coriolis force? An apparent force caused by the Earth's rotation. Okay, so what is Coriolis force? It's an apparent force that caused by the Earth's rotation. The Coriolis force is responsible for deflecting winds towards the right in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so it is responsible for the deflection of winds, okay, towards the right in northern hemisphere and left in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so this is also known as Ferrel's law. Okay, so this condition is known as Ferrel's law. So the Coriolis force deflected, okay, it deflects the wind towards the right in northern hemisphere. Okay, this is northern hemisphere, this is southern hemisphere. So in right in the northern hemisphere and left in the southern hemisphere. Okay, next, the pressure and wind conditions over India are unique. During winter, there is a high pressure area north of the Himalayas. So in winter, there is a high pressure area north of the Himalayas. Cold, dry winds blown from this region to the low pressure areas over the oceans to the south. Okay. So look at this picture. This is India. Okay, so here this is Himalayas and north of the Himalaya. Okay, this area. So this area have a high pressure area. Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea. Now, during winter, there is a high pressure area north of the Himalayas. Okay, so the north of the Himalayas, there is a high pressure area. Okay, this is Himalayas, Himalaya mountains. So this high pressure area or this high pressure point, the cold dry winds blow from this region to the low pressure areas over the ocean to the south. Okay, so here is high pressure, so the wind moves from this area to the low pressure area, that is the southern area. Okay, wind moves from the high pressure area to the low pressure area, that is southern area. In summer, a low pressure area develops over the interior Asia as well as over the northwestern India. Okay, so in summer, a low pressure area develops over the interior Asia as well as over the northwestern India. Okay, or the northwestern India, this area. This causes a complete reversal of the direction of winds during summer. Air moves from the high pressure area over the southern Indian Ocean in the southern easterly direction, crosses the equator and turns right towards the low pressure areas over the Indian subcontinent. These are known as southwest monsoon wind. Okay, so what is southwest monsoon? Air moves from the high pressure area over the southern Indian Ocean. Okay, in a southeasterly direction. Okay, now look at this picture. Let's right here. Consider it as a world equator. So the India is situated here. Okay. Now north, west, south. Look at this. Air moves from the high pressure area over the southern Indian Ocean. Okay, so this is Indian Ocean. This region is Indian Ocean. Okay, southern Indian Ocean in a southeasterly direction. Okay, in a southeasterly direction, that is this direction. Okay, it crosses the equator and turns right towards the low pressure area over the Indian subcontinent. But when it reaches the equator, suddenly it turns right because of the Coriolis force. Okay, and these are known as the southwest monsoon wind. Okay, so this is, look at this. Okay, this is the direction of wind. So this is known as southwest monsoon wind. Now, these winds blow over the warm oceans, gathering moisture and bring widespread rainfall over the mainland of India. So these winds blow over the warm oceans and they gather moisture and bring widespread rainfall over the mainland India. The upper air circulation in this region is dominated by a westerly flow. An important component of the flow is the jet stream. These jet streams are located approximately over 27 degree to 30 degree north latitude. Therefore, they are known as subtropical westerly jet streams. Okay, so they are known as subtropical westerly jet streams. Okay, over India, these jet streams blow south of the Himalayas. Okay, so over India, these jet streams, okay, they blow south of the Himalayas. Although the year except in summer, the western cyclonic disturbances experienced, okay, so next one is western cyclonic disturbances experienced in the north and northwestern parts of the country are brought in by the westerly flow. In summer, the subtropical westerly jet streams move north. Okay, in summer, the subtropical westerly jet streams, they move north of the Himalayas, with the apparent movement of the sun. An easterly jet stream called subtropical easterly jet stream blow over the peninsula India approximately over 14 degrees north during the summer months. Okay. Now, what are jet streams? These are a narrow belt of high altitude westerly winds in the troposphere. The speed varies from about 110 km per hour in summer to about 184 km per hour in winter. A number of separate jet streams have been identified. The most constant are the mid-latitudinal and subtropical jet stream. Okay, so this is the jet stream. Now, western cyclonic disturbances. The western cyclonic disturbances are weather phenomena of the winter months brought in by the westerly flow of the Mediterranean region. They usually influence the weather of the north and northwestern regions of India. Okay, so normally they influence the weather of north and northwestern region of India. Tropical cyclones occur during the monsoon as well as in October-November and are the part of easterly flow. Okay, so the tropical cyclones are the part of this easterly flow. These disturbances affect the coastal regions of the country. Okay, so these disturbances affect the coastal region of the country. Now, Indian monsoon. The climate of India is strongly influenced by monsoon winds. Okay, we know the climate of India is also called a monsoon type of climate, and they are strongly influenced by the monsoon winds. The sailors who come to India in historic times were one of the first to have noticed the phenomenon of the monsoon. They benefited from the reversal of the wind system as they came by sailing ships at the mercy of winds. The Arabs who had also come to India as traders named this seasonal reversal of the wind system monsoon. Okay, so the Arabs called this wind system as monsoon. The monsoon are experienced in the tropical area, roughly between the 20 degree north and 20 degrees south. Okay, so the monsoon are experienced roughly between the 20 degree north and 20 degree south. Okay. To understand the mechanism of the monsoon, the following facts are important. First one, the differential heating and cooling of the land and water create low pressure on the landmass of India while the seas around experience comparatively high pressure. Okay, so the differential heating and cooling of the land and water that creates low pressure on the land. Okay, low pressure on the land and high pressure, comparatively high pressure on the sea region. So that's why the wind flows from high pressure area that is sea to the low pressure area land, that is India's mainland. Now second one, the shift of the position of intertropical convergence zone, okay, that is ITZZ, intertropical convergence zones, in summer over the Ganga plain. This is the equatorial trough normally positioned about 5 degrees north of the equator. It is also known as the monsoon trough during the monsoon season. Okay, so normally it is seen in the equatorial region. Okay, between 5 degree north. In this region, the ITZZ can be seen, but in summer it go above. Okay, they have a positional shift. Now, the presence of high pressure area east of Madagascar approximately at 20 degrees south over the Indian Ocean. So next one is, there is a place called Madagascar. Okay, so the east of Madagascar have a high pressure area. Okay, here is a high pressure area, it's east of Madagascar. Okay, so east of Madagascar have a high pressure area approximately at 20 degree south over the Indian Ocean. So it's located in the 20 degree south in the Indian Ocean. Now, the intensity and the position of this high pressure area affect the Indian monsoon. Next one is, the Tibetan plateau gets intensely heating during the summer. Okay, so the next one is, Tibetan plateau gets intensely heating during the summer. So which result in strong vertical air currents and formation of a low pressure over the plateau at about 9 km above the sea level. Okay, so in summer season the Tibetan plateau gets intensively heating and it creates a low pressure. Okay, it creates a low pressure in the Tibetan plateau here. This is Tibetan plateau and it creates a low pressure. Now, the movement of the westerly jet streams to the north of Himalayas and the presence of the tropical easterly jet stream over the Indian peninsula during summer. So next factor is the movement of the westerly jet streams to the north of Himalayas and the presence of tropical easterly jet stream over the Indian peninsula during summer. Okay, so these are the factors that affect the Indian monsoon. Okay, first one is difference heating and cooling of land and water. It creates low pressure in land and high pressure in sea. Second one is the shift of the position of ITCZ in summer. Next one is the high pressure area east of Madagascar. Okay, presence of an high pressure area east of Madagascar, which helps to intensify the Indian monsoon. Then next, that low pressure in the Tibetan plateau, and finally the movement of the westerly jet streams and the tropical easterly jet streams. Okay, here the low pressure in the Tibet. Here the high pressure in the east of Madagascar. Okay. Now, what is intertropical convergence zone or ITCZ? The intertropical convergence zone is a broad throat of low pressure in the equatorial latitudes. This is whether the northeast and southeast trade winds converge. Okay, so in this place, the intertropical convergence zone. Okay, so in this place, okay, where the northeast and southeast trade wind, okay, northeast. The northeast and southeast trade wind, this is northeast trade wind and this is southeast trade wind. Okay, so this area, this is ITCZ. So this area, the northeast and southeast trade winds are convergence. Okay, but when this region went up, what happened? The southeast trade winds crossed the equator and due to the Coriolis force, it turned right. Okay, now this convergence zone lies more or less parallel to the equator but moves north or south with the apparent movement of the sun. Okay, in summer the sun's apparent movement to the north, so what happened? The ITCZ also move northward. So due to this effect, the southeast trade wind, okay, the southeast trade wind crossed the equator and due to this Coriolis force, then it turned right. Okay, and that's formed the southwest monsoon. Now, have you heard about El Nino? This is a name given to the periodic development of a warm ocean current. Okay, so El Nino is a warm ocean current along the coast of Peru as a temporary replacement of the cold Peruvian current. Okay, so the cold Peruvian current, it's replaced the cold Peruvian current. Okay, the El Nino replaced cold Peruvian current. El Nino is a Spanish word meaning the child and refers to the baby Christ. As this current starts flowing during Christmas. Okay, so this current starts flowing during the Christmas time. The presence of El Nino leads to the increase in sea surface temperature and weakening of the trade winds in the region. Okay, so the presence of El Nino weakening the temperature. Okay, sorry, weakening the trade wind of the region. Now, the onset of the monsoon and withdrawal. The monsoon, unlike the trade, are not steady winds but are pulsating in nature, affected by different atmospheric conditions encountered by it on its way over the warm tropical seas. The duration of the monsoon is between 120 days. Okay, so the duration is 100 to 120 days from early June to mid-September. Okay, so this is the time or the duration of monsoon. Around the time of its arrival, the normal rainfall increases suddenly. Okay, so around the time of its arrival, the normal rainfall increases suddenly and continuous constants for several days. And this is known as the burst of monsoon. Okay, so this process is known as the burst of monsoon and it can be distinguished from the pre-monsoon showers. The monsoon arrives at the southern tip of the Indian peninsula generally by the first week of June. Okay, that is mainly in the southern region. Okay, the monsoon first arrives in the southern tip of the Indian peninsula generally the first week of June. Sorry. Okay, so generally the first week of the June, the monsoon reaches the southern region. Subsequently, it proceeds into two, the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. Okay, then it proceeds to two. That is, the first one is Arabian Sea branch and next one is Bay of Bengal branch. The Arabian Sea branch reaches Mumbai about 10 days later on approximately the 10th of June. Okay, so the Arabian Sea branch reaches the Mumbai after 10 days. This is a fairly rapid advance. The Bay of Bengal branch also advances rapidly and arrives in Assam in the first week of June. The lofty mountains causes the monsoon winds to deflect towards the west over the Ganga plains. Okay, so the mountains causes monsoon winds to deflect towards the west of the Ganga plain. Okay. Now, by mid-June, the Arabian Sea branch of the monsoon arrives over the Saurashtra, Kutch and the central part of the country. Okay, so in mid-June, the Arabian Sea branch reaches the Gujarat region and the central part of the country. The Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal branches of the monsoon merge over the northwestern part of the Ganga plain. Okay, so the northwestern part of the Ganga plain, the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal branch merge together. Delhi generally receives the monsoon showers from the Bay of Bengal branch by the end of June. Okay, that is about the 29th June. By the first week of July, Western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana and Eastern Rajasthan experiences the monsoon. By mid-July, the monsoon reaches Himachal Pradesh and the rest of the country. Withdrawal or the retreat of the monsoon is more gradual process. The withdrawal of the monsoon begins in the northwestern states of the India by early September. So the withdrawal happens mainly from the northwestern states of the India. Okay, by early September. By mid-October, it withdraws completely from the northern half of the peninsula. Okay, so by mid-October, the monsoon withdraws completely from the northern half of the peninsula. The withdrawal from the southern half of the peninsula is fairly rapid. By early December, the monsoon has withdrawn from the rest of the country. So in early December, the monsoon has withdrawn from the rest of the country. The islands receive the very first monsoon shower progressively from the south to north from the last week of April to the first week of May. The withdrawal takes place progressively from the north to south from the first week of December to the first week of January. By this time, the rest of the country is already under the influence of winter monsoon. Okay, because that is the period of winter. So now let's discuss about the seasons. The monsoon type of climate is characterized by a distinct seasonal pattern. The weather conditions greatly change from one season to the other. These changes are particularly noticeable in the interior part of the country. The coastal areas do not experience much variation in temperature, though there is variations in rainfall pattern. Okay. Now, so in India, we can find four main seasons. That is, first one, cold weather season, the hot weather season, advancing monsoon, and the retreating monsoon. Okay, so these are the four main seasons can be seen in the India. First one, the cold weather season or winter, the hot weather season or summer, this is winter and summer, and the advancing monsoon or monsoon, and this is retreating monsoon. Okay, so these are the four main seasons. So first, let's discuss about the cold weather season or the winter. The cold weather season. The cold weather season begins from mid-November in the North India. Okay, from mid-November in the northern India, and stays till February. Okay, so from November to February. December and January are the coldest month in the northern part of the India. The temperature decreases from the south to north. Okay, so temperature decreases from south to north. The average temperature of Chennai on the eastern coast is between 24 degree 25 degrees Celsius, while the northern plains it ranges between 10 degree to 15 degrees Celsius. Days are warm and nights are cold. Frost is common in the north and the higher slopes of the Himalaya experience snowfall. Okay, so the frost is common in the northern and the higher slopes of the Himalaya region and they experience snowfall. During this season, the northeast trade wind. Okay, so during this season, the northeast trade wind prevail over the country. They blow from land to sea. Okay, so the northeast trade wind, northeast trade wind. They blow from land to sea. Okay, land to sea. For most part of the country, it is dry season. Okay, so the northeast trade wind they blow from the land to sea. Okay, so they blow from land to sea. So that's why most of the part of the country, or most part of the country is dry season. Okay, because they don't get any kind of moisture. Some amount of rainfall occurs in the Tamil Nadu coast from these winds, as here they blow from sea to land. Okay, so in some places of Tamil Nadu, the wind blow from sea to land. So it also carry moisture and it causes the rainfall in over the Tamil Nadu region. In the northern part of the country, a feeble high pressure region develops. Okay, so in the northern part, there's a feeble high pressure region develops with the light winds moving outward from this area. Influenced by the relief, these winds blow through the Ganga valley from the west to the northwest. The weather is normally marked by clear sky. Okay, so what is the weather condition? It's normally marked by clear sky, low temperature and low humidity and feeble. Okay, and variable winds. So this is the weather condition of that time. The weather is marked by clear sky, low temperature and humidity, and feeble variable winds. Now, a characteristic feature of the cold weather season over the northern plain is the inflow of cyclonic disturbances from west to northwest. This low pressure system originate over the Mediterranean Sea and the Western Asia and move into India along with the westerly flow. They causes much needed winter rains over the plains and snowfall in the mountains. Although the total amount of winter rainfall locally known as Mahavat is small. Okay, so the winter rainfall that is locally known as Mahavat is small. They are of immense importance for the cultivation of rabi crops. The peninsular region does not have a well-defined cold season. Okay, because they are near to the sea region or the ocean region and they affect a moderate condition. There is hardly any noticeable seasonal change in the temperature pattern during winter due to the moderating influence of sea. Okay, so they are influencing the moderating, they are feeling the or they have the moderating influence of the sea. Okay, so that's about the cold weather season or winter. Now, hot weather season or summer. Due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat belt shifts northward. As such, from March to May, it is hot weather season in India. Okay, so what is the time period? March to May. Okay. The influence of the shifting of the heat belt can be seen clearly from temperature recordings taken during March to May at different latitudes. In March, the highest temperature is about 38 degrees Celsius recorded on the Deccan Plateau. In April, the temperature in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh are around 42 degrees Celsius, And in May, the temperature of 45 degrees Celsius is common in the northwestern part of the country, especially in the deserted region of Rajasthan. In peninsular India, temperature remains lower due to the moderating influence of the ocean. Okay, so that is the speciality of peninsular region or the lower region. So there is the influence of ocean, and it helps to remain the temperature low or the maintain the temperature. The summer months experiencing a rising temperature and a falling air pressure in the northern part of the country. Towards the end of May, an elongated low pressure area develops in the region extending from the Thar Desert in the northwest to Patna and Chotanagpur Plateau in the east and southeast. So, circulation of air begins to set it around the throat. Now, a striking feature of the hot weather season is the loo. These are strong, gusty, hot, dry winds blowing during the day over the north and northwestern India. So, the another one is the loo. These are strong, gusty, hot, dry winds. Okay, and they blowing during the day over the north and northwestern India. Sometimes they even continue until late in evening. Direct exposure to these winds may even prove to be fatal. Dust storms are very common during the month of May in North India. These storms bring temporary relief as they lower the temperature and may bring light rain and a cool breeze. Okay, so they bring light rain and a cool breeze. This is also the season for the localized thunderstorms associated with violent winds, torrential downpours, often accompanied by hail. In West Bengal, these storms are known as Kal Baishakhi. Okay, so the West Bengal, these are known as Kal Baishakhi. Towards the close of the summer season, pre-monsoon showers are common, especially in Kerala and Karnataka. So, towards the close of summer season, pre-monsoon showers are commonly, okay, especially in Kerala and Karnataka region. So, they helps in the early ripening of mangoes and are often referred to as the mango shower. Okay, moving forward. Next one is advancing monsoon. That is the monsoon season or the rainy season. By early June, the low pressure condition over the northern plains intensifies. It attracts the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. Okay, so by the early June, the low pressure condition over the northern plains intensifies. Okay, and it attracts the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. Normally, the winds flow from high pressure area to low pressure area. Okay, so the northern plains have a low pressure condition. Okay, the northern plains have a low pressure condition. So they attract the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. These southeast trade winds originate over the warm subtropical areas of the southern oceans. They cross the equator and blow in a southwesterly direction, entering the Indian peninsula as the southwest monsoon. Okay, so we already discussed that. Look at this. This is word equator. So this is the southeast. This is east. So the southeast trade winds. Southeast trade winds, when they cross the equator, here is the India. When they cross equator, due to the Coriolis force, they move right. Okay, so that is called southwest. Okay, that's called southwest monsoon. They cross the equator and blow in a southwesterly direction. Okay, so when they cross the equator and then blow in a southwesterly direction. Okay, and they enter in the Indian peninsula in the southwest monsoon. As these winds blow over warm oceans, they bring abundant moisture to the subcontinent. Okay, so they bring abundant moisture from the ocean to the subcontinent. These winds are strong and blow at an average velocity of 30 km per hour. With the exceptions of the extreme northwest, the monsoon winds cover the country in about a month. Okay, so the monsoon wind cover the country about a month. The inflow of the southwest monsoon into India brings about a total change in the weather. Early in the season, the windward side of the Western Ghats receives very high rainfall, more than 250 cm. The Deccan Plateau and parts of Madhya Pradesh also receive some amount of rain in spite of lying in the rain shadow area. The maximum rainfall of this season is received in the northeastern part of the country. The Mizoram in the southern range of the Khasi Hill received the highest average rainfall in the world. Okay, so the Mizoram in the Khasi Hills, they receive the highest rainfall or highest average rainfall in the world. Rainfall in the Ganga Valley decreases from the east to west. Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat get scanty rainfall. Okay, but the Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat only get a scanty rainfall. Now, another phenomenon associated with the monsoon is its tendency to have a breaks in rainfall. Thus, it has wet and dry spells. In other words, the monsoon rains take place only a few days at a time. They are interspersed with rainless intervals. Okay, so they are interspersed with the rainless intervals. These breaks in monsoon are related to the movement of monsoon trough. For various reasons, the trough and its axis keep on moving northward or southward, which determines the spatial distribution of rainfall. When the axis of the monsoon trough lies over the plains, rainfall is good in these parts. Okay, so when the axis of the monsoon trough lies over the plains, then the rainfall is good. On the other hand, when the axis shifts closer to Himalayas, there are longer dry spells in the plains. Okay, so when the axis shifts closer to the Himalayas, there are longer dry spells in the plains. And widespread rain occur in the mountainous catchment areas of the Himalayan rivers. Okay, and the widespread rain caused in the mountainous ranges of Himalayan rivers. These heavy rivers brings in their wake devastating flood causing damage to life and property in the plains. So this caused flood in the plain areas. Okay. Now, the frequency and intensity of tropical depression too determines the amount and the duration of monsoon rains. These depressions form at the head of the Bay of Bengal and cross over the mainland. The depressions follow the axis of the monsoon trough of low pressure. The monsoon is known for its uncertainties. The alternation of dry and wet spells vary in the intensity, frequency, and duration. So the alternation of the dry and wet spells, they vary the intensity, frequency, and duration of the monsoon. While it causes heavy flood in one part, it may be responsible for droughts in another part. So in one part, it may be cause for the heavy flood, but at the same time, it may be responsible for drought in the other region. It is often irregular in its arrival and its retreats. Hence, it sometimes disturbs the farming schedule of millions of farmers all over the country. So, the monsoon can also cause bad effect in the agriculture. Okay. Next one is retreating or post-monsoon. Okay, that is the transition season. The October to November, with the apparent movement of the sun towards the south. The monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains become weaker. Okay, so during the month of October and November, what happened? The apparent movement of the sun moves towards the south, and this monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains become weaker. This is gradually replaced by high pressure system. The southwest monsoon winds weakens and start withdrawing gradually. Okay, so gradually the southwest monsoon start withdrawing. Okay, this was the southwest monsoon. Okay, so they gradually withdraw. By the beginning of October, the monsoon withdraws from the northern plains. The months of October to November form a period of transition from hot rainy season to dry winter condition. Okay, this is the transition period between the rainy season and the winter season. The retreat of monsoon is marked by clear skies and a rise in temperature. Okay, so how we consider the retreat of monsoon, that is, we can see the clear skies and rise in temperature. While day temperatures are high, nights are cool and pleasant. The land is still moist. Owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity, the weather becomes rather oppressive during the day. This is commonly known as October heat. Okay, so this condition is known as October heat. In the second half of October, the mercury begins to fall rapidly in the northern India. The low pressure conditions over the northwestern India get transferred to the Bay of Bengal by early November. This shift is associated with the occurrence of cyclonic depressions which originate over the Andaman Sea. These cyclones generally crosses the eastern coast of India, cause heavy and widespread rain. These tropical cyclones are often very destructive, and thickly populated deltas of Godavari, Krishna and the Kaveri are frequently struck by the cyclones. Okay, so in these times the occurrence of cyclones, okay, especially the tropical cyclones, are very often and they are very destructive. Okay, these tropical cyclones are very destructive, especially the thickly populated regions of Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri frequently struck by these cyclones. Okay, sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coast of Orissa, West Bengal and Bangladesh. The bulk of the rainfall of the Coromandel coast is derived from the depressions and cyclones. Now, distribution of rainfall. Parts of western coast and the northeastern India receive over about 400 cm of rainfall annually. However, it is less than 60 cm in the western Rajasthan and adjoining part of Gujarat. So, the part of western coast and northeastern India receive about 400 cm rainfall. Okay, that is a good amount of rainfall. But it is less than 60 cm in the western Rajasthan and the adjoining part of Gujarat. So, that is very low. Now, rainfall is equally low in the interior of the Deccan Plateau and east of Sahyadris. A third area of low precipitation is around the Leh in Jammu and Kashmir. The rest of the country receives moderate rainfall and snowfall is restricted to the Himalayan region. Okay, so the snowfall is in the Himalayan region. Owing to the nature of monsoons, annual rainfall is highly variable from year to year. Variability is high in the regions of low rainfall such as part of Rajasthan, Gujarat and the leeward side of the Western Ghats. As such, while area of high rainfall are liable to be affected by floods, area of low rainfall are drought prone. Okay, so in some places there are heavy rainfall and which causes the flood, and at the same time some areas receive less rainfall or nothing rainfall and these areas are drought prone. Now, monsoon as a unifying bond. Himalayas protect the subcontinent from extremely cold winds from the Central Asia. Okay, we know the Himalayas protect us from the cold winds from the Central Asia. This enables northern India to have uniformly higher temperature when compared to other areas on the same latitudes. Similarly, the peninsular plateau under the influence of the seas from three sides. Okay, so the peninsular plateau means it is covered by the sea on the three sides. It is Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal. So this is the peninsular plateau. Okay, so the peninsular plateau under the influence of the sea from three sides has moderate temperature. Despite such moderating influences, there are great variations in the temperature conditions. Nevertheless, the unifying influence of the monsoon on the Indian subcontinent is quite perceptible. The seasonal alteration of the wind system and the associated weather conditions provide a rhythmic cycle of season. Even the uncertainties of rain and uneven distributions are very much typical of the monsoons. The Indian landscape, its animal and plant life, the entire agriculture calendar and the life of people, including their festivities, revolve around the phenomenon. Okay, revolve around this phenomenon, that is the monsoon phenomenon. Year after year, people of India from north to south and from east to west eagerly await for the arrival of monsoon. This monsoon means buying the whole country by providing water, to set the agriculture activities in motion. The river valleys which carries this water also unite as a single river valley unit. Okay, so that's about the chapter. If you have any doubts, you can comment below. For more videos, do like, share and subscribe.